Another widespread round of rain and even thunderstorms means another WRAL weather alert day. I'll let you know what to expect hour by hour and when the rain finally clears.
A person shot by a local deputy.
Heard like a loud bang.
What a woman who lives nearby says she saw after hearing the shots.
A bill that could affect health care coverage for millions in our state. How it could affect you and your family.
Protesters slammed this downtown Raleigh storefront as a puppy mill. Now they're taking a new ban to city council.
Well, here we go again. The cold and the rain just not letting up. So here is a live look over downtown Raleigh. Yeah, it does kind of have that gloomy look with the raindrops there on the tree branches. And it's not over. The system's still coming through our area tonight. Thanks for being here at 7 o'clock. I'm Ashley Rowe.
And I'm Dan Haggerty. Yeah, it's not letting up, is it? It feels a little relentless at this point. The cold and the rain, last 2 days it's been hitting us, and there's more coming tomorrow. That's why for the third day in a row, it is going to be a WRAL Weather Alert Day. Kat, thankfully, it's not going to be an all-day thing.
Nope, the worst of it comes in the morning. It gets better after that. So hopefully that'll carry it through. We aren't done with rain chances just yet. 6 a.m., that band of showers and even thunderstorms starts to move in from the west. It's definitely with us at 8 a.m. for the morning commute. Expect widespread impacts across the triangle. And by 10 a.m., it's more impacting our eastern counties before we finally see some improvements. The Dual Doppler 5000 radar is still showing rain widespread across Wake County. However, it is much lighter rain at this point, a very steady, persistent rain north of I-85 in our area. And we'll continue to see this axis of rain kind of shift to the north as we head throughout the overnight hours. Here's what that's likely to look like. On future casts, you can see it kind of thinning out the rain, lifting to the north a little bit by 10 o'clock. We could get a little bit of a break around Wake County, but not for long. That band of showers and thunderstorms really comes together overnight. Here it is in our western counties by 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, really impacting the triangle 7 to 8 a.m. Widespread rain, some rumbles of thunder, and some pockets of pretty heavy rain expected for the morning commute after that. When does the rain finally clear out of here? And then when do we finally get to see some sunshine again? I'll walk you through when we expect to see some better weather coming up.
And at the WRAL Live Center, we have been looking at weather impacts on some of our roads. I can tell you firsthand that we have seen a number of vehicle crashes around the triangle. This is what a lot of commuters are dealing with at this hour. This is a live look of downtown Raleigh, Fayetteville Street. You can see those slick conditions there. After checking with the NCDOT Triangle Area Feed, they say that the latest incident they were looking at is a crash over on I-40. That incident is over on mile marker 9, so be mindful of any traffic delays because of vehicle crashes. But it looks like some of the other incidents, such as an incident on Capitol Boulevard as well as in Durham, some of those incidents have since been cleared. Back to you.
All right, Aaron, thank you. Kat, thanks. We'll talk to Kat again in just a bit. In the meantime, you can count on WRAL to monitor conditions for you all week long. Stay connected with the forecast with the WRAL News app and wake up with our morning team before you head out the door. Coverage starts tomorrow morning at 4:30.
Well, we have breaking news now. In the last 10 minutes, we learned the person shot by a deputy in Harnett County today has died. WRAL's Carly Haynes joining us now live from where this happened on Neals Creek Road in Lillington. Carly.
And the sheriff is not releasing the name of that victim nor the name of the deputy until family members are notified. But we did see some family members leaving this house just about 30 minutes ago, visibly distraught on their way to the hospital, they tell us. And right behind me, this is the home at the center of that shooting investigation. The scene just cleared about an hour ago after this road was shut down in both directions for about 4 hours there. Harnett County Sheriff did confirm that a deputy shot someone here in the area of this home. We now know that person has died. There was crime scene tape surrounding the home, investigators looking all around the yard a little earlier, and we were able to speak to a neighbor who told us what she saw from right across the street.
Just heard like a loud bang, and then within a couple minutes started hearing lots of sirens. So looked out, saw, obviously a lot of police cars and then an ambulance, and then saw a person down on the ground, and then fairly quickly was taken away in an ambulance.
And now we did also see the SBI on scene. They have confirmed with us that they are helping out in this investigation, and that is standard practice anytime a member of law enforcement fires their weapon. Carly Haynes, WRAL News, live in Lillington.
Carly, thank you. Tonight, a state Senate vote that could affect your health care coverage. They passed a bill that would limit what insurance companies are required to pay for. To put a new procedure on the list, you take something else off that list. WRAL's Heidi Kirk explains the bill and what's next.
State legislators here in the North Carolina Senate say that this bill could impact health care coverage for more than half of North Carolinians. We spoke with people who worry this means more out-of-pocket costs.
Bonnie Weatherford cleans homes for a living. She lives paycheck to paycheck and is a caretaker for her fiance who has many medical conditions.
What would you do if you didn't have insurance? How would you pay for those bills?
I couldn't. There's just no way.
We told her about Senate Bill 24, a bill that would freeze expansion of a list of procedures that health insurance must pay for. If passed, the bill could affect people just like her on the North Carolina State Health Plan.
I'm sure there's things that we could use added to it, but we can't afford to have anything taken away.
Today on the Senate floor, the bill's lead sponsor, Republican Senator Jim Bergen, said the bill could be a solution for rising health insurance costs.
The rising health care costs in North Carolina place a significant financial burden on individuals, families, employers, and taxpayers.
At a committee meeting Tuesday, Democrats pushed back, saying more coverage is needed.
We would have to go through the list of existing mandates and pick some other group of people to say they no longer get that.
If Weatherford was put in that position, there'd be another bill that went unpaid.
Whether it be car insurance, food on the table, there'd be something you'd have to give up.
Now, there's still one more hurdle for this bill before it becomes a law. Now it's headed to the State House. Heidi Kirk, WRAL News in Raleigh.
Thank you to Heidi. More Helene relief funds, a survey for Raleigh's next police chief, and the flu. Here are 5 things you should know right now. North Carolina is a step closer to more relief money for the North Carolina mountains. A House committee approved a $500 million plan this morning. The full State House expects to vote on it next week. So far, the General Assembly has approved $1 billion in relief since last fall. Sadly, 2 children have died from the flu in North Carolina. One from the central part of the state, one from the eastern part. Health officials say that they've also recorded 171 adult flu-related deaths so far. More than 1,600 patients were treated for the flu last week, which is down slightly from the previous week. Wake teachers are calling on the county to help fill some funding gaps for facilities and building repairs. They rallied at the Raleigh Moravian Church today, but cameras were not allowed inside. The group told WRAL they want the county commissioners to put a school infrastructure bond on the ballot for the district's aging schools.
Tonight, Chapel Hill will vote on a resolution to call for work to start up again at USAID. The resolution also calls on Attorney General Jeff Jackson to take more action. 1,700 people work across 60 international development organizations in the Durham-Chapel Hill area alone. The city of Raleigh wants to know what you want in a new police chief. The city posted an online survey today asking about qualifications and experience. You can also suggest questions for the interview process. You'll remember Chief Estella Patterson announced she's going to be leaving the position on March 1st. The survey closes February 22nd. Could Raleigh ban the retail sale of dogs and cats? A group of protesters wants the city to do just that. They say at least one downtown store is running a puppy mill. As WRAL's Eric Miller reports, Raleigh wouldn't be the first city to do this.
There's plenty of precedent here. According to the Animal Legal Defense Fund, more than 400 cities and counties in at least 6 states have bans like this already in place. Now this group of protesters is trying to add Raleigh to that list. The protests started almost as soon as Petopia opened. Crowds in person and online calling the storefront a puppy mill. Within months, the store shuttered. And now the activists that pushed for that closure want to make sure nothing similar moves back into downtown.
We have some of these stores that make their money off of breeding new dogs that typically come from puppy mills and selling them for thousands and thousands of dollars to mostly people that don't understand like where they're getting their dogs from.
Josh Baldwin is an organizer with NC Animal Advocates United, which picketed Petopia. Tuesday, that group took their new proposal to City Council, a ban modeled on this ordinance passed in North Myrtle Beach in 2019.
We do not allow the sale of any kind of cat or dog in a pet store.
North Myrtle Beach Council member Nikki Fontana spearheaded the ban after a neighboring community had issues with a puppy mill.
We were the first municipality in the state of South Carolina to actually pass this ordinance.
However, Josh Baldwin admits his group faces an uphill battle in Raleigh, in part because North Carolina municipalities are given little leeway in these matters by the state legislature.
And so we kind of have to work with state legislatures. That's kind of the next step.
Baldwin says in the meantime, NC Animal Advocates United plans to continue pressing the city to take any action in any way they can. We reached out to Raleigh's mayor, Janet Cowell, to see if she had any reaction to this proposal or any desire to try to bring an ordinance like this to the rest of council. So far, we've not heard back. In Raleigh, Eric Miller, WRAL News.
President Donald Trump has passed a lot of executive orders so far, like so many it's nearly impossible for the average person to keep up. But here at 7 o'clock, we're not going to let them fall by the wayside. Tonight, we're talking about his order to set up a sovereign wealth fund. The president thinks this could be a way to pay for things like TikTok or infrastructure and a whole lot more. We got a new segment for you, and it's right after the break. The news has been talking a lot about President Trump's executive orders over the last few weeks. He has signed more than 60 of them in less than a month. Check out this graph from NBC. It shows the number of executive orders signed by modern presidents in their first 100 days. And as you can tell on the far right, Trump is way ahead of them all. And we still got about 70 days to go. With so much action in such a short amount of time, it can feel impossible to keep up with all of it. But here on WRAL News at 7 o'clock, we're going to try our best to do that for you. And it brings us to the first installment of our newest segment. Order up! That's right. We are going to get after this stack of executive orders like a stack of pancakes, one bite at a time. And tonight, I want to talk about Executive Order 14196, better known as the plan for establishing a United States sovereign wealth fund, a sovereign wealth fund. Kind of sounds like a bank account for a member of the royal family, but it's not. This is real. This is something that a lot of countries, in fact, have, these sovereign wealth funds. And President Trump thinks that we should have one, too. His order calls on the Secretary of Commerce and the Secretary of Treasury to come up with a plan within 90 days. They need to look at setting up the rules, what to invest in, and, oh, yeah, how we are going to fund this in the first place. Got a couple of months to take care of it, guys. Get to work. Like I said, lots of countries, though, have some blueprints for these kinds of funds. China has one, the UAE, Singapore, Norway, Saudi Arabia, Australia, South Korea, Russia, Iran. A lot of countries have these. They're worth, some of them, billions of dollars, sometimes trillions of dollars. And it's not just foreign countries. There's actually a handful of states here in the U.S. that have their own sovereign wealth funds. Alaska, Texas, New Mexico, Wyoming, North Dakota, Alabama, Utah, Oregon, Louisiana, and Montana. Texas, for instance, they started their fund way back in 1845 using oil and land purchases. It's worth $56 billion today, and it helps pay for education and infrastructure in their state. Alaska, their fund is the largest in the U.S., worth nearly $80 billion. It started in 1976, funded by, well, you guessed it, oil there in Alaska. Alaska uses some of the money to give the residents there a universal basic income. They cut them a check for about $1,700 a year. They get it in the mail. Must be nice. Now, as you might have noticed, North Carolina isn't on that list. We do have a reserve fund and a state pension plan, but it's not really the same thing. That money can only be used in very specific places. These sovereign wealth funds are special, though, because governments use them to invest, sometimes in the private sector, and then they use those returns for just about anything that they want. Does that sound like a good idea to you? I spoke to the Director of Budget and Entitlement Policy at the Cato Institute, and she doesn't think so.
A U.S. sovereign wealth fund is a shiny object with no legitimate purpose or need in the United States fiscal context. Anything the federal government wants to accomplish, it can do so by going through Congress and authorizing spending for any particular program or priority.
She seems pretty convinced she's right, but there are a lot of people who are looking in the other direction. See, this is a really huge topic with huge potential upsides and downsides. Some of the proponents think that it could be the path for some financial freedom in some ways to help fund health care or save Social Security. Naysayers, on the other hand, think that this could be an overreach. They could have the federal government wielding power and influence over private companies in this country and abroad. I want to talk about this. I think it's important. Tonight, we took just a little bite out of that stack of executive order pancakes, but think of it as an appetizer. Let us know what you were thinking about this executive order or any of the other orders that have been signed. There are lots, as we said, to choose from. So, hey, if you got your phone out right now, I know it's in reach, send me an email, dan@WRAL.com. What executive orders do you want us to dig into? What else do you want to know about these sovereign wealth funds? Tell me what is on your mind. We'll talk about it together right here on WRAL News at 7.
Alaska has a big chunk of change. Very interesting. All right, we got to talk about this rainy weather. We've got another weather alert day.
Another one. The good news is it's not going to rain all day tomorrow. It's just going to be a morning event. We'll probably cancel it by noon tomorrow. This time we've got some thunderstorms that could mix in with the rain, and we are expecting potting on the roadways. This heavy rain arrives just in time for the morning commute. Leave some extra time. It's probably going to be a slow drive to work, to your kids' school in the morning. We've got a 90% chance of rain and a few thunderstorms until about 8 a.m. That chance 70% at 9 a.m. and then by noon we're down to just a 20% chance. The clouds may be slower to clear tomorrow, so just keep in mind, just because the rain ends doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a beautiful sunny day. A live look out and about tonight, 40 degrees in Durham. You can see the tarp on the field there at the DBAP. The rain, if you look really closely around the light, still coming down at a steady rate here at the WRAL Gardens and in Fayetteville. 41 degrees right now. Not as much in the way of rain in Fayetteville today as we've seen in the Triangle. And that trend continues tonight as the precipitation shield, the rain shield, lifts to the north ahead of our line of showers and storms. Fayetteville's seen today, at least in the last 24 hours, just about 1/10 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch of rain. But around Wake County, we've seen about 1 inch of rain over the past 24 hours. So it's been a pretty healthy dose of rain for us. Our warm front will slowly lift to the north tonight. Out ahead of it, we'll see some fog form along with the rain, and then comes this line of showers and thunderstorms during the first half of the day tomorrow. Then we dry out for one day on Friday before our next system arrives into the weekend. Rain chances start to ramp up late Saturday. Saturday doesn't look all that wet. Sunday, unfortunately, does. Sunday brings a much better chance of showers, perhaps some thunderstorms, since temperatures should reach the 60s out ahead of this front on Sunday. We're going to have to watch that, especially given that in parts of the south along the Gulf Coast, there's likely to be some severe weather on Saturday. So we're going to watch the timing of everything and how things pan out on Saturday to see if maybe we could be added into a stronger storm threat on Sunday. As of right now, that risk looks pretty low. 52 on Friday, mostly sunny, a beautiful, dry, sunny day for Valentine's Day. It's the only day like that this week. So good news, it lined up Valentine's Day. 58 Saturday with the rain, and then temperatures at least rebound on Sunday. But as I mentioned, that may end up bringing a thunderstorm threat. It also looks very windy on Sunday. Check this out. Southwest wind around 20 miles per hour. We could see some gusts stronger than that. So a heads up for the weekend. It's going to be active once again. Next week, we're really cooling off again. Check that out. We've got a big temperature drop in sight Sunday, going from the upper 60s all the way to the upper 40s by Monday, upper 20s that night. And then as we get toward the end of next week, that is going to be our next potential round of precipitation. Some folks who are seeing a snowflake icon on their weather app. We've talked about how much I cannot stand that app before. It's only measuring the atmosphere in 2D, not 3D like we do. I'll tell you what I'm seeing on the models in all honesty. Cold rain or ice. Don't get your hopes up at this point, but we'll keep you updated.
When are we
going to
break this? When are we breaking this pattern? When's spring going to start?
Exactly. We got a taste of it on Sunday, and now we want it consistently.
The next 2 weeks, below normal temperatures, above normal precipitation, the general pattern. We could get a couple warmer days mixed in there, but not looking good right now.
So hang tight,
Will do.
essentially.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of Valentine's Day snowstorms in our area, so you know. I mean, we're not going to see one Friday, of course.
But it's that time of year.
Yep, we're not done yet.
Okay, Kat. Hey, we've been talking a lot about the Army post, soon to be renamed Fort Bragg. It's been all about the name and not actually about what goes on there. So let's flip the script in tonight's One Last Thing. So, Dan, we've been talking a lot about Fort Bragg this week. The big headline, of course, that it's getting its old name back with a new namesake. But we haven't talked much about what this Army post does for the community and for the country.
So tonight, for our one last thing, we go to Cumberland County. The commanding general at Fort Bragg was off post today to announce a major partnership with Fayetteville State University.
It's a fancy term. It basically means our soldiers will be trained on the state-of-the-art data analytics, logistics supply chain, cloud computing. Yeah, this is the Army of 2025 doing high-tech stuff. For instance, cloud computing helps to forecast and see global problems coming.
This agreement represents the future for our soldiers and our nation. And I will be the first to say, I'm elated that Fayetteville State University will be a part of that kind of rich and purposeful future.
Our partnership with FSU and similar academic institutions allows us to solve today's problems today and begin to understand tomorrow's problems early on.
So this is just one more way that Fort Liberty, soon to be Fort Bragg, used to be Fort Bragg, going to be Fort Bragg. It's confusing. That part of it, we're still working through that. But it's woven so deeply into the community, and we appreciate them very much. Thanks for being with us tonight.
We'll see you again at 10 on Fox 50 and 11 here on WRAL.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air channel 34 and Spectrum channel 1257.